Hi. Okay, this is a general intro that I'm going to add to every one of the 12 readings I'm about to do for each sign individually, but I've got the cards organized right now. I'm going to do house readings. I'm going to go for each sign. I'm going to check each of your 12 houses, what your energy is in them, and that's my idea of the most accurate sort of diagnosis I can come up with. You know, it would be my version of, you know, it's similar to the, well, it's not similar to a Celtic cross or something, but in terms of not just my free flow normal readings. So what I wanted to show in introduction was how I'm going to use the cards to classify a bit. I'm going to identify, I'll put, one card will be up here, so whatever your sign you are that you're going to be identifying with in the reading, it'll be up here. For me, this is Aries energy, Leo energy, and Sagittarius energy, but by houses, by first, fifth, and ninth houses, right? That's what how I'm classifying the energy. So you might very well be King and Queen energy and watching for Aries, right? So what I'll do is I'll have the Page of Wands up, identifying it as Aries, but the other cards will go back in the deck. So if you are coming out in Knight or Queen or King energy and it needs to come out in the reading, then it will, okay? And we'll correctly identify. So similar, Taurus, because we all know, I keep going on about this, I reclassified Earth and Air to match the houses, but also there are more reasons to reclassify them in their cardinal, mutable, and fixed energies than just the cardinal points that Ptolemy gave them. So I'll make a video arguing that out. I explain it most videos, but Taurus at Page, cardinal energy, Virgo, Knight, and then the entrepreneur, because of the career house, the 10th house is career house, so King and Queen energy for Capricorn, okay? But again, same old. If you're watching for that sign and you're in other, you know, you're in a particular energy, then it'll come through in the deck, because I'll just put the one card up as a signifier and the others will be back mixed in with the deck. So Gemini, and otherwise, so remember Earth and Air I've reclassified. Gemini, Libra as the Knight, and Aquarius as Queen and King because of 11th house, 3rd house, 7th house, and 11th house, okay? And Cups, Cancer, 4th house, Scorpio, 8th house, and 12th house with Pisces. And I would make note that with Pisces, because the 12th house is all houses, and Pisces can take on the qualities, the attributes of any sign, because they've been through all of them. So this Queen and this King wear all the crowns. Even more so than how we classify with the Emperor, right? Or even the Empress. These two, because they're all signs and all houses, they wear all 8 crowns. So that's how I classify those. They'll be representing your sign. For the houses, I know that this is typically in tarot, this is an Aquarius card, but I like it to be, I'm going to use it, it can be identified with Aries in first house, yes. And so I believe in astrology it's used as a first house card, is how I first learned it. So I'm going to use it for first house. I'm going to use the Hierophant. I often, in my astrology work, I'll use him as Chiron, as a planet placement, but I'd rather use him in this. I won't worry about a Chiron card. I'm going to use him as the 2nd house. Lovers for 3rd house. Chariot, because it gets confusing between the, I use the High Priestess card, which is normally a 4th house card. I use her as a Lilith placement, which may or may not come out in the reading, but I'll know if it is. And Lilith, as a lunar experience placement, can be magnetisms and polarities. So they'll give me definite messages if I need. So I'm using the Chariot because that is a 4th house card. It's a Cancer card, so it might as well be used. I'm using the Strength card for 5th house, yes. Of course, Hermit for 6th house, Justice for 7th house, Death for 8th house, Temperance, of course, for 9th house. And I get torn with this because I know it's Capricorn, but it's I could use the World card, but I use the World card for Saturn as a planet placement. So I'm going to use Capricorn's card, the Devil, for 10th house, Aquarius and the Star. And I do equate the Tower more with 11th house with Uranus than with Mars and Pluto in Scorpius. It's a split camp. If you go researching online, it's as far as I know, it's a 50-50 split. But I've done my research, and I've got my articles that I refer to that identify the issues that the Tower brings more with Uranus issues. So I'm going to use the Star, obviously, for Aquarius. And then in astrology, the moon is Cancerian, but in tarot, it is Pisces. So, and I need it because Hangman has the Neptune meaning. So these will be, I will use these. They won't be in the deck. They're going to be signifying the houses. So they're going to stay out of it. So what we do in place of them, and they'll be up here. I'll just have one card up at the top, and that'll show which house we're working on. And then for the planets, right? So these will be put back in the deck so that if there's a house that's affecting your house that we're reading about, or there's a planet affecting that, right? Then we have them mirrored, right, by their rulers here. So Sun and Leo, the 5th house. Mercury, so the Magician is Mercury in 3rd house. Of course, Venus, 2 houses. We've got 7th house and 2nd house there. So, and we're going to use High Priestess as Lilith. So any lunar house she might represent, right? But let's say she typically represents the moon, so that would be Cancerian. But Mars, right? Emperor. Jupiter, the wheel. Saturn, the world. So for me, Uranus, the Tower, Hanged Man, Neptune, and Judgment, Pluto. Okay, so those will be put back in the deck. And now let's get to your individual readings, and I hope that makes sense. That's what I do when I'm using the cards in chart work. And now, I'll break for a moment, and I'll be right back. Hey Pisces, here we are. Let's get into your houses. Let's do this. I just finished watching a total nail-biting episode of Twin Peaks, which I've only just started watching because of my son. All credit to him right now. Oh my god, that is so just life. It is so life. That is just when Masons run the world. Twin Peaks is, I know it's an inside story, but still, perfection. Okay, so your first house. I'm just going to breathe into the cards a little bit here. This is typically in tarot. It's an Aquarius card. I can't remember how much I say in the little introduction. It's not a little introduction, I'm sorry. What I find is in the first house, I mean, yes, it's your rising sign, and you want to get your sidereal placement to know your true rising sign and the degrees. And there might be more than one sign in your first house, right? Like in whole house, obviously it would be one sign, but in either Placidus, I go with Regiomontanus, which is the Ibn Ezra. I have 3 signs in my first house, right? So your inner trajectory, maybe your sense of self, but I actually find I get more sense of self from the 7th house, from how my interactions with others tell me about me. And that's what I found in the astrology work anyway, is that I get more answers about who I am actually through that house. So in terms of, we could say what your feelings are, where you are right now, could be first house. The state of being that you're in, yes? But knowing who you truly are astrologically matters. Like tropical is accurate to seasons. The constellation, well, no, not the constellation, the sign seasons. They're not accurate to the constellation seasons. So I do a combined birth chart for myself and for others, where I have the tropical, an outer ring of tropical and an inner ring of sidereal. And they still overlap. They might completely actually be offset almost entirely one sign to another at this point, in terms of it could be Aries season, but it could be Pisces sun, you know. So yeah, if you can get, I'll try to remember to put the link in where to go to get the best possible sidereal birth chart. And have a strong sense of who your core being is then, and why. It can provide answers that this reading can't provide, right? Although we'll get to the heart of it, but okay, we have some, it's almost stuck energy, but it is in progress. It's this close to being stuck, right? For me, this is Aquarius energy, 11th house energy, mastermind energy. So a beginning and an ending, yes. This would have to do with being a nonconformist, being unique, where you are concerned with either technological or information-based creativity, shall we say, innovation, right? Of course, there's the emotional meanings as well. But this would be King and the Queen of Swords energy for you. And I know with Pisces, you are all kings and all queens. You wear all the crowns. You're all the signs and you are all the houses. So it's not like, this is almost just second nature to you, yes, but you're in that mode. You're in Swords mode. You're in Aquarius mode for sure. Let's just put that there on that angle. The angles matter to me. They can sometimes mean aspects in your chart now. Seems to be where we're going. Two together. Okay, that's probably more than... Okay, now I'm changing the angle. Now they're parallel to each other, though. They didn't have to be. They don't always fly out parallel. Okay, and one's obviously facing away from the other. And one flipped, and one flipped to look back, and one's looking forward. Wow. Okay, so moving with the wheel, but with your back to the wheel. Okay, your back to the wheel. This is one of your co-rulers, Pisces. This is Jupiter. And allowing for time. Now, this king has a plan. This king has a plan. For me, this is 9th house energy. So there's something to do with, and of course, co-ruler of your house and Sagittarius, 9th house, okay? So double duty here for Jupiter. So twin energy for you. Pisces and Sagittarius coming together. Jupiter has your back. The angle that they are at compared to the Ten of Swords is a sextile. There's work that needed to be done between faith and individualism, possibly, and what you want to do in the world. So there could be something that needed to be worked on between your will and God's will. That's a possibility. Let's move on to second house, because this is pretty strong energy. And these are both moving in the, these are both moving in the same direction. So Jupiter does have your back. It's not that it would be against you, but it would be a different dynamic, yeah. Whereas the swords are moving opposite, so that's probably a good thing. Because I feel with the twin energy there, double duty of Jupiter. Okay, so let's go to your second house. And of course, first house is ruled by Mars. So while this is actually like an Aquarius card in tarot, in astrology would take it as a Mars Aries card. And that's why readers often refer to it as Aries energy, because it's a first house signifier. So now we go into Venus territory with the Hierophant. Your finances, your liabilities, your assets, basically getting grounded in your, you know, how far you are into your security in the material world. Okay, I'm going to take it at the angle that it came out on. Sort of, so we're on a 45-degree angle. We could be squaring off with something. No, that would be like a 90-degree angle. We'll see. We'll see if a card squares with it. There's an instability here. We have complete Taurus. For me, I put Taurus as cardinal pentacles because it's second house. So we have an instability, possibly an insecurity, since I was going to say it. It can be a loss. Some financial uncertainty for sure, though. Now, why? We have Taurus energy in Taurus. So we have Venus energy in Venus. Empress. Some would say Ceres is a better ruler for Taurus than Venus. Okay. However, the cards are flipping, just like the King of Wands flipped. Yes. Here we have the Empress flipping, and she's going to come out in exactly the same direction as those. So she's with you. She is with you. There's work to do, yes, to get all the way upright. And the question is where? The question is where and what is going to do that? Where is your career energy then? Or the work, or the investor, or okay. Wow. Okay, so more Aquarius energy. This would make you one of 3 signs if your career energy is in Aquarius right now. In reverse, so the 10 working its way from being stuck. 9 in reverse, I mean, we're going back to the 8 of Swords. So there's a situation that you need to be a mastermind in. And the question is how. The question is how. So but things are working with you. Like Venus is working with you. Look at the parallels of Neptune. Not Neptune, Jupiter. Jupiter in parallel with the King. Venus in parallel with, you know, like they are. Okay, so Jupiter, so far Jupiter and Venus. And actually what's interesting is Jupiter's actually a strong counterpart astrologically to Venus. Mars is more a personal sign, like Venus, and Jupiter's more of the external, close to the external, right? And so in my research, it looks like Jupiter actually represents the long-term partner more than the Mars placement in your chart. And since Mars is such a personal energy anyway, for me it's your loves and loyalties, so it has more to do with you. And Jupiter is a, you know, more general, generational, like Jupiter cycles are every 12 years, so that it's like in between. It's still you. All the planets are still you, but in terms of, it's like you and the other. So there could be a relationship here, is what I'm saying, that is also being coordinated. Okay, so let's go to 3rd house. Gemini and Mercury. Choices, ethics, for me, knowing the whole background, the true history with the African prophetesses behind the smear campaign of Adam and Eve and the snake, because snakes are actually a good thing in other parts of the world, especially African countries where the prophetesses came from. So for me, it's an ethics thing. Of course, lovers, but community, what you know. See, this is so connected to Aquarius energy, because this is where you figure out, this is where you possibly need to go and correct what you didn't learn in school, because school isn't there to teach you. And then Aquarius is going to be what you do with what you know. Yeah. So this should have some kind of clue. The solutions are buried under the problems. Okay, wherever it cut off. The Libra card, others put it as Aquarius, but for me, I put Libra as fixed air because I put Gemini as cardinal. And this is smack dab in the middle of the 3 cards of Libra. This is, I have 5 planets that line up with this card. It's just the heaviest represented card in my chart. And you can do that, you know, like your chart is, you can match up, because there's basically a card for each week, right, of the year in Tarot. So safe passage is nearly here. There could be some kind of gift of information, connection, maybe a coming together, right? Since we've got the emphasis of Venus having the stability, right? And Jupiter having the back of the King of Wands. So if there's not another person involved, and yet it would suggest that there is, because I have Venus here again in Libra. I realize in Tarot there's another planet associated with this card. I think. I mean, I know that there's a planet attached to this card. I can't remember which one. I have it in one of my books, but I don't have the book right now. But because we have other energy here and other energy here, right, with the Lovers. Wow, okay. Possibly in opposition, but let's see. Yeah, an opposition. Your Lilith. I use this as a Lilith card in astrology. Okay, so God, Mother God. For me, I take this card, same as Empress, right? For me, they are Mother God. For me, Emperor is Father God. So there's an opposition here that is being reconciled. And for Lilith, it being your magnetisms and your polarities. So something is working together. So Empress is High Priestess. If you look into the symbolisms of the woman with the crown of 13 stars on her head and the moon at her feet, is the same woman. About to give birth to the baby that the dragon wants to eat. So, Mother God is working with you. It's in parallel with your 4 coins, yes, your stability. And at the same time, through her, what she can do through her other house in justice, yes. This would be 4th house, actually. So there could be a spirit guide or multiple spirit guides working with you, because you are Pisces. But it's something about bringing your like it's an alignment. It's because it's a reconciliation between oppositions. Like in astrology, when you have one planet directly opposite or directly opposite another planet, right? It's an opposition, and they need to be. They're complementary. One can't exist without the other. It can't function without the other. Can't function properly. Can't be optimized without being reconciled. Same with the other. They need to be. So either there's another person, or there are parts of you that are being, which is, it wouldn't, if you want to see how many oppositions are being reconciled for Aquarius right now, and why would things be so different for you? Okay, so that's in progress. What's interesting, yeah, so that's deep spiritual work. And if it's in the house of knowledge, then you're about to get a I guess the last bits of what you need to know. Let's see if there's anything else to say in third house. Because this has everything again to do with your 11th. Now, I feel like there's such strong energy there. Let's relight our candle, or let's get a new candle. Keep the light burning. There we go. Yeah, okay. So we're going to see how this works out once we're going to go straight into Cancer's house. More of her energy, and then once we get to 7th house. But I like how I was saying there could be an opposition, and boom, there was an opposition. So let's get to your balance, your house of 0 tolerance for anything toxic. That is Cancer's house for sure. Clears up all the toxic crap in order to create the balance, so that you have this Chariot that you can, you know, get around in. Wow. So just like Empress and King of Wands flipped right in the deck, so we have Gemini energy flipping, because this is for me Gemini, not Libra. Sword of Truth, doing the right thing, and it's a 3 of manifestation, and it's upside down just like she was upside down. Okay, what's going to happen with this heartbreak? Going back to 2 of Swords, possibly. You know, stepping into, making up your mind about a situation that you haven't made up your mind about before. Again, with that 8 of Swords that isn't on the table yet, but is being, you know, pointed to by the 10 and the 9. So you got strong, you're all in your air energy. So, right, we've got Libra, we've got Gemini, and we've got Aquarius. So stress levels could be extremely high, or just problem solving, like you're in problem solving mode is what you're in. Flipping over in the deck. Yes, now the question is finding the answer. What is the truth? We've got a 3, then we've got the 2, just like I was saying, and that takes us back to the Ace of Swords. Now, it being in your 4th house, again, taking us sort of to that 4 of Pentacles, you know, the earthly security, but we also have a spiritual situation here, because this is all about your ancestral roots, but your spiritual roots, your spirit guides. But it could be family. It could be. Let's see here. Okay, we have career energy here. Or we have a landlord, or we have a father, or we have somebody in your life who is, I mean, because this energy is definitely not the same as this energy. But I would still say I'm inclined to look at it as you in progress, because it's in the same position as Empress and the 4 of Pentacles. And if I recall, they were basically like this. Yes, they were upside down. They had a long ways to go. They were 45. So they're in opposition to the guardedness is in opposition to the success. These 2 things need to be reconciled. And for me, this is Capricorn energy, and Capricorn is naturally tethered, right? the split in Capricorn is between being very, you know, uber adventurous, uber invested, okay? And then at the same time, carrying all the concerns of pulling it off, making it work, yes? And so this energy is very complementary to Capricorn energy. So it could be that, yeah, absolutely, in your Capricorn energy, in your 10th house energy, and that's why you're so heavy in your air, because you're trying to solve the Pentacles problem in an air kind of way. Now, do we need to solve it in a Pentacles kind of way? That's the question. But these two need the guardedness and the... Probably, this is Page of Pentacles energy. So we need to look at where the Knight of Pentacles, where your Virgo is. See if he shows up, right? The bridge. How do you get from this to this when they are opposed? So what is it about the King versus the Page? And it's in what you know. So what don't you know? And you just don't know what you don't know. In there. Okay. That King with the plan, though, in your first house. And we do know, what we do know is that it's in your 11th house. Something's in your 11th house. So anything else for 4th? Yeah, there is. Okay. Yeah, there is. Stuck energy. You hit the floor sideways. Okay, it is spiritual. Well, it's the other. It could be either. It could still be either because this is a soulmate card. Scorpio energy. Now, you do have career energy in your 4th. So it is who you know in terms of its networking, but I'm going to say with this, I'm leaning towards spiritual connections. It's in spirit guides. And then spirit-led connections with human, you know, people in this matrix with us. And probably, you know, this heartbreak, this problem solving, this air energy is possibly getting in the way of the intuitive, not intuitive, God, that's such a non-word, the psychic, right? Very psychic. Don't have Cancer energy in here. There are other things. Now, Cancer house is, 4th house is strong enough to handle this. But so a lot of your... You're going to need clarification on this through... But it's stuck here. It's stuck. Okay, so something's... Okay, so your thoughts are stuck. And yet they're not stuck. Okay, let's move on. But again, to have career energy in your 4th house, what does that look like? What does it look like to have career energy at home, in your home, working at home? Working from home. That's what 4th house is. It's home. 6 is a gift that's coming through. It's stuck. The gift is stuck. It's some kind of sign or affirmation or connection. It's coming from a definite person. So it's either somebody like a soulmate, and a soulmate can be any kind of relationship, yes. Or it's a spirit guide. Okay. So now we have the King of Wands, but we haven't had 5, 6, or 7 of Wands on the table yet. So let's see what's going on in your 5th house then. And this is the balance between lunar and solar energy, yeah? Same as the Chariot. For me, this is collaborative creativity. You, Pisces, are muse creative energy. This is like teamwork for me. It can be very practical creativity, yes? Not that you aren't practical, but you know what I'm tech heavy. This can mean, you know, like lots of logistics in terms of, not that you don't need lots of logistics, but you and your in muse energy can do so much just sitting alone at a table with, you know, the bare minimum. Whereas in Leo energy, 5th house, you need you need the theater, you need the crew, you need the tech, you need the ticket sales, you know, stuff like that. It's very two-dimensional example I'm giving there in terms of it's not giving us a great scope. For me, 5th house doesn't have to be singularly, it's about leadership. So it could be in any field. It could be sports, it's heavily physical. So, okay, right, so we have just like the 10 of Swords, right? Here you are. So 11th house and 5th house as well. Ruled by the sun, right? Of course, 4th house is ruled by the moon. So your solar energy could be triggered. For me, the sun is instincts and triggers. Be very triggered right now about some kind of, well, I would assume some kind of what your role is in terms of leading, who you build your tribe with. Yes. Who does Aquarius reach out to? Where are Aquarius's audiences? Okay. Way out looking. You're looking. This is 1st house energy. Mars, Aries energy. Page again. Page versus King. And Page versus Queen. This is almost... Yep, the angle of this, see the wide angle of this as an aspect. Yeah, that's close enough to quincunx for me. There's a leap of genius. There's a leap of genius from this Queen to this Page energy, this start. You're so sophisticated in your thinking, you've got it all. And the question is how to move from knowing to doing. And there is this leap. This fool's leap, right? This 1st house leap that needs to be made, but where, in what direction? And he was like way over here, right? So, and he's looking this way and she's looking that way. So it's possible you're looking in the wrong direction, yeah? But it could speak just to the the immense amount of genius required to get these two to work together, to reconcile. What is unique, she is so established and she knows her territory. He does not know the territory necessarily. He's sent out. Queen sends him out, King sends him out. I need you to go deliver this message. This is change, right? He's change. She is established. He is change. Anything else? Nearly stuck energy. Okay, Scorpio again. Look at that 7 echoing that 6. Yeah. Who you are spiritually. All your soul contracts. Well, you know what? I'm not actually into soul contracts anymore. I have a contract with God. The more and more I've been exploring and studying and experiencing and charting the evidence of my research and working through my astrology workbook, other people don't behave with me that I feel like I've had contracts with. They don't handle it as if they understand that there's a contract. Even if they take things seriously, even if they totally, believe 100% in what we're doing together, they're still not speaking the same language. So I thought, well, how real are contracts? Or is that just another sort of half-truth that we're caught in? And really, I just have so far as I know, now I have a lot of spirit guides, but I don't think they had no knowledge when they were on Earth of any contract with me. They did their thing. Some of them were connected spiritually, some less so, right? And they just got on with their work. But, so I can't say that they have contracts with me, but they do help me tremendously because it's in, for one, it's completely part of their story to help see what their work was doing, help see it through with corrections or revisions and carry itself forward for whatever the spiritual answer is to everything about this matrix. But it's a transformation card. And it's nearly, let's just say it's stuck. It's not quite, but it's near enough. So there is need for scorpionic energy to get the queen into being the page, to go from being, we could say comfortable, secure, right? It's in the same position as that insecurity of the Four of Pentacles and the Empress. And what else was parallel to that? The King of Pentacles is in opposition. She's in look at this, okay. Right? Okay. So that's how that looks, right? So we're working all together, okay? Because needs to be reconciled to this king, right? The oppositions, yes? So those magnetisms and polarities. This queen is in opposition to this king. So this queen needs reconciling to that king through this page. So this page is bringing the change. And Scorpio is going to help with this transformation so that this queen, yes, can be reconciled to this king within you and possibly without, if there's another person involved as well, then yeah. But since you are actually King and Queen of Cups, I feel like this is more about you. Because we are talking about what's going on in your houses and what you have control over. And you don't have control over other people, but you have control over you as much as possible, right? I mean, I don't totally believe in free will. Because you have to have understanding of the full context of the universe in order to have any kind of significant free will in it. And you have to be pretty much capable of creating the universe yourself. Otherwise, you're stuck in somebody else's situation that they have ultimate control over because they created it. But yes, so we need this insecure. She's got this insecurity. She does have this insecurity, this pentacle. She's got certainty of thought, certainty of thinking, certainty of knowledge, except she doesn't. Except she doesn't, right? Because something's missing. Something's missing in the fourth. Where did King come from? Where did King come from? Was he in the... Yeah, is he in here? I mean, I'm just put him there. Yeah. We got that far that I'm not sure anymore. Okay, so we know the means to the end. This is the direction we're heading in. So we're heading for first house, which is right next to you, Pisces. Okay. All right, so these are These are in a genius aspect. Very difficult, very, very difficult aspect. It does require master teacher energy. It's called a quincunx. So let's look at a master teacher house. Let's look at 6th house, Virgo, Hermit. So problem solving, for me, it is the 5, 6, 7 of Pentacles. Okay. Logistics. There she is. Okay. So mastermind in solving psychically. And of course, Virgo is directly across from you. What I always forget and I need to remember. I don't know why. I don't always forget. What am I saying? I'm discounting my own abilities here. Okay. Now, see how Jupiter has the King of Wands back. The king with the plan, right? And all the fire and the faith. This is a card that represents your South Node, where you are comfortable. Or what you've been saddled with. And yeah, I went back and I checked your Ten of Swords position and it was nearly stuck. Not quite, and pointing down. So it's got some ways to go to get around to that upright position. If it's in Aries though, if your South Node is in the 1st house, now not necessarily technically according to your chart, right? But according to this reading right now, the energy, where you need to put your attention, then the North Node would be directly across from it, and that would put the North Node energy, your 10 of Cups, in the 7th house. So all of that opposition between you and the other is really, it seems to be, So, the beginning of Aquarius energy. I said it would matter where those 8 swords are. The mastermind move. Yeah? So somewhere alone with your guides, right? That's what the Hermit is. Working alone with guides. People come to him for answers. So there's possibly a teaching situation. Yes? Here we have King of Wands, Queen of Wands energy, 9th house energy. Interesting. Of course, the wounded warrior, but proving yourself to everyone. Proving yourself to yourself as an 8. Where we had the 9 of Swords was proving yourself to everyone as well. Let's just double check. Making up your mind about a new situation. So possibly making up your mind about working alone, being alone for a while, possibly. Okay, 9 of Swords in reverse. So proving yourself to everyone is not happening. But it's happening over here. Near completion with the 10 of Wands. Perseverance. 8 and 9 is 17 equals 8, so strength. But again, we have that similar angle here. Another quincunx, another leap. And she needs to leap. So how do we get from parallel energy? Oh, your own energy. Look at that opposition. Okay, so let's just put her over here for a minute. 8 and 8. So we need to reconcile faith with, and the House of Long Journeys. If we have a journey, a journey card here, and then we have a card of the House of Long Journeys here. empathy. Jupiter energy here. Jupiter energy here. So if we go back, right? And pushing. Look at you pushing against your, yep. Back to the wheel. Hermit's ruled by Mercury, same as third house. So if we compare the Two of Swords and the Three of Swords to this Eight of Swords, it's a new situation is why. It's just that new energy. That new energy. So Jupiter's pushing you in this hermit mode as well. Which means obviously the Empress is too, but emphasis on Jupiter because we've got the connection through the wands. And the cups. Through Sagittarius and Pisces, both ruled by Jupiter. So, now look, knowing the plan, right? The bigger picture and getting caught in the moment. And then leaving the moment. So, what is it about hanging on and letting go? Or so many commitments. Commitments to who? Commitments to the right people. Commitments to the right people. Who are the right people? Well, that's what you figure out ahead of time with your guides. Interesting. Okay. So, the big one, the 7th house. These other people. Is this where the North Node is? It might not be exactly where the North Node is. Wow. Okay, so all of these relationships, here we have Sagittarius again. So the King of Wands energy, the Jupiter energy again. Yes, the others. The others. Mirroring, not quite, because the other one is 9 of Swords in reverse, right? So here we have 10 in reverse. Leading back to the Ace. Okay. Two together, Gemini and Aries. But together, parallel, in opposition. The Page of Swords is extremely guided. Others put this as Libra energy, but for me it's Gemini. So Ace, 2, 3, and 4 of Swords. So those 2 and 3 of Swords. This page is very guided. Finds out loves to be underestimated, or at least does not mind being underestimated. Picks his moments, picks her moments, their moments, right, to play their hand, to share what they know, to who they trust. A lot can ride on their information, right? And if it goes into the wrong hands, then it affects them personally, their own well-being. So if they find something out, let's even say the Queen of Swords send them out, and they find something out while they're, while they're on their, their task. They find something out that poses a personal threat to them. They're going to modify the plan. They're going to modify the work, the thing that's been asked them to do. And here we have change again, right? So this page is like, they're going to stop. They're going to take time to figure out what they need to do for themselves in the situation so that they do not get caught in the crossfire if they find something out along the way. Either that, you know, they've been sent on a bad mission, a bad messenger service, or, you know, there's a conflict of interest, something like that, right? Then we have Aries energy. I'm going to just shift these so you can see them properly, right? Okay, there we go. But again, this Swords energy, but this, see, now this page knows though. So we need to switch from the 2 and 3 of Swords, get that Ace of Swords, holding the Ace of Swords, holding the truth. Then we have this manifestation in first house energy. Keeping the faith of knowing that somebody else, this other, now is this you waiting on the other or the other waiting on you? Let's say that Page of Swords is going through the work in the 6th house. Choosing the right relationships, choosing the right situations, but based on what you know. So you need that Ace of Swords in order to steer clear of the wrong, again, so steering clear. Yeah, investing in the right situations and avoiding the wrong ones. Am I right? Is there a way to affirm that? Yep. Cancer energy. Avoiding third parties. Avoiding conflicts of interest. Avoiding, yeah, being the third party. Being the third wheel. Being undervalued. Three and 3 in opposition, right? It's in opposition to everything. Well, no, it's not. It's in the same direction, right? So let's just put it there. It's parallel to the 10 of Wands in reverse, which I just finished believing to be the wrong commitments. And this coming from that house that rules zero, has a zero tolerance policy for anything toxic. Exactly where that Page of Swords is. Doing the right thing. What's the right thing to do? And then unsticking. We've got, see, yeah, and having that Scorpio energy there, that gift that is stuck. Scorpio energy. Well, let's get into Scorpio then. Let's get into Scorpio. The safe passage, like this is the house of that 6 of Swords. Yep. Those magnetisms and Lilith just naturally repelling the wrong people. Getting into that power. Getting into that master power of like, no,